Sir, you're about to see something really special.
Really thought this part of my life was behind me. Frenzy disappeared with the drinking 3 years ago. Why now? This makes no sense, and I'm right on the verge of freaking out.
Back from your life,
these people can be animals.
what you burn,
Thingy's out.
some bitter things you should never
Good cheese.
learn. Wallow through the days.
Remember, cosplay's not consent.
So here's to me. Congratulations, me. Yay, me.
This would all be so much easier if I was hammered. Hammered.
Won't be there anymore. You can take away the anger, but you leave behind the pain. It's your soul I
New ventures are always scary.
feel till I'm melting
Blah, blah, blah. Something positive and uplifting.
tomorrow. But the hurt will still remain. In your soul I'll live forever till I'm melting.
Don't miss our new film, The Love Song of William H. Shaw, coming soon to a streaming service near you. Hey everyone, this is Cliff from Talking Pondo. Just wanted to give you a quick heads up about spoilers on the show. We do talk about the films in a certain amount of detail, so you may want to watch the film first and then come back if you're not a fan of spoilers. Also, every now and then there's a little bit of adult language, so we wanted to give you fair warning on that. We hope you enjoy the episode, and we really appreciate you listening. Welcome to Season 2 of Making Pondo and Talking Pondo. Talking Pondo is a podcast where Cliff and Marty give each other a film to watch and talk about them in detail. Some episodes will include a special guest. Making Pondo is a podcast where Cliff and Marty talk to people they have worked with and discuss their experiences on set. All right, Marty, that's it. We're back.
We are back.
Back again.
And longtime listeners will know, well, I should say longtime viewers of It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia will remember that one episode where Dennis was like, I think it had something to do with him writing his erotic memoirs, and he got hit in the head and he ended up in a mental asylum. And then we don't know if this was real or it was a dream, but his inmates in the asylum with him were Sinbad and Rob Thomas.
Uh-huh.
And Sinbad told him that Rob Thomas is Sinbad's bitch. Now, what does this have to do with anything? Well,
I have no idea.
One of the movies we get to today has one of those perfect plastic pop hit songs of Matchbox 20 by Rob Thomas.
I want to push you around. I will.
We do any more, we have to say ASCAP. And then it's like, well, how does that tie back to It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia? Well, the creator of Barbie, a movie that we will be talking about later days, played by Rhea Perlman. Hey, she's married to Danny DeVito. So it just keeps going in a giant circle forever and ever.
Tying all kinds of knots together.
It's Always Sunny in Barbie Land, right?
So,
So our movies today are Fryby, or was it Bar Day? Because we didn't watch Oppenheimer in Barbie like a normal person. We watched Friday in Barbie. But I mean, maybe that's normal too, because one movie's about you got to be a man, and the other movie's about you got to be a woman.
I'm just a Ken, and I'm just a man. Yeah.
I like pickled pig's feet.
I like hogs balls. Better put some water on that shit.
Oh, jeez, that's so good.
Half Dead. Well, I guess we'll start with Friday.
I'll start with Friday, the older film. 30 years old. I can't believe Friday is 30.
Within 30 seconds of this 30-year-old movie, you have an old woman cursing her ass off, calling Ice Cube a half-dead motherfucker. And you know what you're getting right from the start. Like, this movie's fucked up.
And I know you don't want to hear about the Letterboxd people anymore, but one of them basically said, like, when a movie starts like that, they were out. But you're right, because it tells you what you're getting right in the beginning, and I'm there for it. So
I am too. Like if you don't laugh at that joke, you're not going to laugh at much else in this fucking movie.
that's very true.
Um,
Clerks in the Hood. What is Friday?
Oh yeah. Jeez, I went right off to my started on my notes because John Witherspoon is a comic genius, and this film proves it, in my opinion. Friday. So this Friday is from 1995. It's rated R. It's an hour and a half long. It's directed by F. Gary Gray, and it's written by Ice Cube and DJ Pooh. It stars Ice Cube, Chris Tucker, and Nia Long. So here's your log line. It's Friday, and Craig and Smokey must come up with $200 they owe a local bully, or there won't be a Saturday. That's a pretty good log, actually. Storyline. A lot can happen between Thursday and Saturday. Before the sun sets, Craig must get his friend out of trouble, find a new job so his parents don't evict him, escape his girlfriend long enough to capture a new woman's heart, and survive a climactic confrontation with the neighborhood menace. Not bad.
Mm-hmm.
And that's basically what it is.
Devo is definitely the second main story. Like, they have two obstacles they have to get over. They got to pay Big Worm his money back for the weed, and then they also got to make sure that Devo doesn't steal all the money and everything else along the way.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Because he'll take the chain your grandmama gave you. Like, he's
gonna go cry in the car.
He's gonna go cry in the car. So right away, my first note is John Witherspoon's faces in this film are pure comic gold. Like, when he's on the toilet and he's spraying that Renuzit, his face is just so contorted. Even when he's sleeping and he's like, give me all the, what did he say? Give me all the blah, blah, or give me some, the pig's feet and all the fries you can give me. Lots of hot sauce. Thank you.
Did you watch the alternate opening on the director's cut?
I did. And you're right. It's got a weird coloring to it, which is kind of strange. But even if it was colored normal, I would see why they removed it.
Yeah,
like,
you don't want your first shot to be Devo. He's not the main thrust of the film. I get how they're and this is this person and these, but you're supposed to meet them more organically as it goes, rather than here's the setup. We already know Smokey. You're not supposed to meet Smokey for about 10 minutes or so into the movie. So I much prefer the theatrical version, which is why I suggested it for the show.
Yeah, it's a good call. No, it's a good call.
There's some funny stuff. It's been the extra stuff, but
especially that early kitchen scene, which is so funny. You know, every time I come in the kitchen, you better put some water on that shit. All that they drag that out.
It's much longer
in the opening. Yeah. It's much longer, and it's not as good.
Right.
It's one of those things where, again, I can see if you really love the theatrical version of Friday, and you're like, oh man, I just like that director's cut for all the extra. But I don't think it enhances the movie.
No. And I wouldn't want to see that version first.
No.
It's more like an extra credit version.
Yeah.
It's kind of like Empire Records remix, right? I don't want the remix. I want the original cut. It's nice that it's there, but it's a shame that that's the one that kind of superseded the other version.
Yeah, I hear you. And we've talked about this before. I feel that way at like Almost Famous, which we talked about earlier. I literally just saw tonight, and it was in the theater, and it was the theatrical version. And I was like, yeah, that's the version I want to remember. I like that the bootleg is there. I can dig into that extra stuff, but that theatrical's pretty special.
Mm-hmm.
There's a reason sometimes you got to cut stuff. They got me on tape stealing boxes, Marty.
Right. I thought there was something, and I didn't watch the whole director's cut and all the deleted scenes again, but I felt like there was something where they show the person who was really stealing the boxes in the extra scenes. Maybe I'm just imagining that one, though.
I just watched the first 5 minutes to watch the opening, and then turned it off because I wasn't about to watch it again. But Compton looks just like middle class America, or is this supposed to be somewhere else? Because it looks like, it doesn't look like
No, that's about right.
It doesn't look like a rough neighborhood.
Yeah, they were trying to make like apparently they were trying to make a softer side of the hood movie after so many heavy gangster films. And yet,
that makes sense.
the casual gunplay in the movie to me is still kind of disturbing to the point where have you seen another comedy that has a drive-by shooting in it? But there's a mixture of tones, which makes this one unique.
Harlem Nights.
Oh well, you might have me on that one, sir.
Don't drink your juice in South Central. What's that one? Don't be a menace to your hood while drinking your juice in South Central. Yeah. But I'm just trying to. Yeah, I'm just thinking of.
And the main plot is a little disturbing too, which ties into all the gunplay. You know, Big Worm's going to kill you. He's going to kill you. And sure enough, they do send people over to try to kill them at one point, and nobody gets shot, thankfully, in this movie.
My thought was, how much did he pay those dudes? Because it was probably more than Smokey owed him.
Yeah,
and those dudes probably emptied $100 worth of bullets out of their guns. So it's just a lose-lose for everybody. Like, you should just,
right,
maybe do better business or something.
I mean, I almost wonder if everybody was just shooting blanks at each other because of the way that nobody got hit. It fit into the tone of the movie a little bit, I guess.
Well, it is very like cartoonish.
Yeah,
like it's like Looney Tunes in a way, almost. Especially when Chris Tucker turns around and he's shooting the gun, and he's shooting, and then one of the bullets goes, and he goes, and he jumps off. It's very, very Looney Tunes.
I mean, the sequels go even further that way, but I didn't rewatch those. But just thinking about them, watching this one again, they don't have the heart that this one has. They're all just kind of the folly and the ridiculous, but there's none of the use your fists, don't use guns, so you live to see another day type stuff. At least I don't remember anything like that.
And that's one of my.
The third one's a Christmas movie.
That's one of my comments about this film, is that it tried to push this message of, don't kill each other, fight with your fists. And I get it, but like I don't know. It's, to me, it's sort of the hammy part of the movie. It gets very ham-handed.
It was their first attempt at doing anything.
As much as I like it, yeah.
A lot of the people involved, and the fact that it came out as quotable and as interesting as it is.
Oh, it's quotable as hell. I mean, it's yeah.
I do love the kind of pedestrian type dialogue because it's got that realism. This movie, Marijuanos and Comic Book Diaries owe a lot to this movie. This is one of those that was like, okay,
yeah, you're not wrong.
I get Clerks, but this one speaks more. Right? We lived on the West Side for a really long time, and so the movie made a lot more sense to me.
Yeah, we got into a lot of trouble, and a lot of this stuff. I'm not saying we got into drive-bys, but we had some crazy shit go on.
Right.
There's some rough first time acting. It's Chris Tucker's, in my opinion, a little more polished than Ice Cube. Ice Cube's still kind of working it out. He's still getting it. He does a great job. He's got an obvious natural talent, but you can see he's still finding it.
It's like a Cheech and Chong movie if it had like a real plot.
Yeah.
We owe the guy the money or he's going to kill us. And then like Act 1, Act 2, Act 3. Not that those don't have that, but they're a lot more routines spliced together.
Yes.
Loose story, the Cheech and Chong movies. This is more like, that's why I call this one Clerks in the Hood, because it's got more of that, our two slacker characters, how are you going to get fired on your day off, and their little misadventures as they have to set everything right,
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Smokey's Hoopty should have gotten its own credit in the movie. Like, that car.
Where's my Funko Pop of that?
When he's dragging his feet to stop that thing, and then he finally gets to stop, and he hops out, and and he goes chirp chirp, chirps it with the car alarm. It's perfect. It's hilarious every time. It pays off every time. It makes me laugh every time.
I've noticed some people online discovering this movie now, I guess, like through various social medias and stuff, and they take the freeze frame and they say, or they say, I've watched this movie a bunch and I've never noticed this. I think I noticed it the first time around. I don't know, maybe it's just, but Craig's girlfriend has a dude in the bed in that first scene when she's talking to him on the phone. So she's already stepping out on him. But I guess some people were like, I watched this movie 10 times before I saw that dude in the bed. And he's kind of camouflaged in there. But
do you remember, you remember the first time they meet Ezel when they go to the store and he's standing outside and he goes inside and he does, my neck and my back. I'll settle out of court right now for $20. Did you notice that he makes it outside with the 40?
Yeah.
He's picked up a 40 at some point in the store and he makes it outside with it. I thought that was pretty funny.
Blink and you'll miss Michael Clark Duncan.
Really?
Yeah, he is in the flashback scene when Debo steals the bike when they're playing dice.
Oh, really? Is he one of the guys playing
there? Yeah, and I kept thinking, I wonder if he's going to come back, and he never did. But yeah.
Wow. That's hilarious.
Yeah, literally blink and you'll miss. Yeah.
Bernie Mac. It's great. It's nice to see.
Oh, yeah.
Just give me a little for my cataracts, man.
The Bernie Mac role would kind of be filled by Cat Williams in the third movie. Not the same character, but the preacher type. Yeah.
Preacher type. Yep.
How do you get to a Christmas movie from this? I still
Bye, Felicia is probably one of the most popular lines that come out of this movie. Bye, Felicia.
It's so weird to watch that Straight Outta Compton movie, and there's a scene where he's writing this movie. You just feel old watching it. It's so strange. Like a credit comes up 1993, and I'm like, what?
Oh my god, that's hilarious. Smokey and Debo's pigeon coop. That reminds me of Ghost Dog. He's in the pigeon coop in his underwear. For some reason, I thought of Ghost Dog.
All those legendary stories of they're going to dip that joint in Sherm and you're not going to know and you're going to flip out. You always hear that story, you know. It's right up there with SLC Punk with the acid in the pocket got wet and the guy did 50 doses at once and he went crazy.
Yeah. I heard of different.
Yeah.
I've heard different versions of that one. Several different versions.
I thought you said this was Indo. It's more like Outdo.
More like Outdo.
And I'm thinking, Smokey's a sativa blower. Because he's so hyper the whole damn movie. He never gets mellow. But boy, it hits Craig really hard. He's like, he starts tripping right away. Which is pretty funny.
Yeah.
Do I not look high anymore? He's all trying to straighten himself.
Do I still look high?
I still look high.
Puff, give, Craig. You know, you're fucking up the rotation.
Yeah, he's always got a joint behind his ear or in his pocket. Smokey, he's always, fumbling, doing something with it. When they first go to his house and, he's got the stereotypical 90s stoner pad, even with the Up in Smoke poster on the wall and the record cover with the weed on it and rolling it up.
Is there
a Cypress Hill poster?
Yeah, Cypress Hill. That's what I was going to say. Is there a Cypress Hill poster in the background? Yeah.
It's like so, perfect of that time period. I realize now Craig's family's relatively conservative compared to
yeah, for sure.
like Smokey's family.
Yeah, for sure. Smokey's family's fucking crazy. His mom. And why does Smokey have a key to his own fucking house? What happened that Smokey can't have a key to his own house?
Right? It's like Dinner in America. You're not supposed to be here.
And also there's more than the usual amount of taking a shit jokes in this movie.
Oh, I was just getting to that. Yeah, the poop jokes and the misogyny kind of take my rating down a bit, but the movie's still charming enough overall. for what it's trying
just
to be. You know,
it's. I mean, I'm not. Look,
it kind of
I
lags
don't.
in the middle a bit too, but yeah.
I'm not. I think it paces pretty decently. I'm not against a poop or a fart joke. It just.
No wonder we were putting poop jokes in our movie. We were in fun.
Yeah.
I
I'm
mean,
not
there's a
against
time
it.
and a place, and some of them are funny,
There's-
but like I know what you mean. There's a bit of a predominance on it.
Yeah. Yeah. There's just a little more than I would normally see in a movie of that guy. And then it's actually some of the other movies that we would see in this
Right.
gal.
If I didn't know
I mean,
better, I
it's
think
not-
you were back
it's
there
not-
taking a shit, Smokey. I mean,
it's not Divine picking it up and eating it. It's not that bad.
yeah, we'll get to that in a few years with the American Wedding. Actually, when the Divine becomes mainstream.
Oh, that's insane. At about the hour mark, we get a life lesson from Craig's dad, which is about the perfect time for it. It reminds me of the old movies from the 40s where that they always had to tie a moral into the film somehow, but I'll say this movie came out in 95 and I've easily seen it 100 times.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
And it still makes me laugh. It still makes me laugh. It still surprises me and it still makes me laugh. Yeah.
I didn't see it until probably like 96. I certainly didn't see this in the theater.
No, I saw it on home video, I'm pretty sure.
I don't know who brought this over or turned it on cable, but it was somebody. It was either Paul or Louis or somebody brought this movie to our attention, and it became one of those things that we discovered back in the day at my old house. Yeah. And then it's funny because that movie is such a culture shock because some people base their whole personalities after Chris Tucker's character in this movie after it came out for a long time.
True.
So
True.
It's like the Jeff Spicoli of the 90s stoner hood movies. And you go, what do you just say there's more than one? It's like, yes, there is more than one of this type of film. This is like the beginning, like we were talking about How High and stuff like that.
It's kind of the beginning of like the kind of the boys in the hood street sort of marijuana flicks,
Right.
Which it's funny. The opposite side of the coin for this is Boys in the Hood.
Yes.
And they're both starring Ice Cube, which is kind of interesting.
That's why it's so weird to see the gunplay so treated lightly. And I know they were trying to be less heavy-handed, but of course I'm looking at it 30 years after the fact and focusing on that part more now. Like, oh, what an interesting device to use as comedy. And it's like, well, I guess you kind of have to, acknowledge it. Otherwise, the movie wouldn't be as realistic as it is, and it's non-realism.
Chris Tucker is really good in this. Like he carries the movie with the comedy. He's consistently funny. He's consistently just really crushing it on all angles.
Mm-hmm.
For me, the drama at the end is overdone, and it's tied back to that whole morality tale, but it's just a little overdone. But it's at the same time, it's nothing egregious. It's just it reminds you again of what it is, which is just a silly Looney Tunes movie about weed and people who smoke it.
And both of these are kind of silly Looney Tunes movies today, in a way.
Sure, yeah, sure.
And
sure.
You know what they do both have in common? Everybody ends up with an empty milk carton at some point or another. Happens to both movies.
Well, I mean, I'm glad old boy got his bike back and his chain back. That was nice to see.
And then Devo went to jail, and then he breaks out in part 2, or something happens, right? That's where they go to like a different neighborhood. I remember that one being okay.
That's when the one where Debo breaks out and they send Craig to live with his cousin, which is Mike Epps, and they live in like the nice part of LA in like a nice house and shit.
He's working at the record store. How am I supposed to get jiggy with this? And there's some moments in there.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm going to bring that one up anytime soon. I really want to talk about the first one, but Oh, two is okay.
I noticed that you remember in the beginning of the movie when Craig's mom is making breakfast and he thinks she's making breakfast for the both of them. Yeah. She's making 3 types of pork for breakfast. She's making pork chops, she's making sausage, she's making bacon and pancakes and eggs for breakfast.
That's why he thinks he's getting some.
I guess.
But instead
Wow.
she tells him to put water on the cereal as well.
Mm-hmm. And then proceeds to just fucking go to town.
Which means the food was there, he just didn't want to cook it.
Yep. Well, or he didn't know how to. Maybe he just doesn't know how to. Maybe he doesn't know how to cook.
Yeah,
Who knows? Not everybody knows how to cook, right? Let's give Craig the benefit of the doubt here. He did knock Debo out.
He did end up working at a record store in part 2 and not at a restaurant, so maybe he doesn't know how to cook.
That little fourth wall break at the end when
Mom's
like, I'm gonna call you and I'll call you tomorrow, and he stops and he looks at the camera. Yeah, that's a nice little chef's kiss right at the end of it. I thought.
And Smokey gives us one too.
Yeah, exactly.
At the very end. I think Craig does that in part 3, kind of when that movie runs out of story and they just switch to voiceover. But there's also a part in Friday where it's like 5th wall, 6th wall, where it's out of the blue. It's Craig's voiceover when they're breaking into the house. Oh, maybe I should blah blah, and he's like looking, like we're hearing his thoughts.
Oh, yeah. That's right.
I'm sitting there watching that, thinking, what an interesting editorial decision. I think the scene would have played better without it.
Yeah,
like Blade Runner. I can tell by watching him. He's looking this way. He's looking. He's nervous. I don't need to hear his thoughts there.
Yeah,
I thought that was an odd choice because there's no other.
Yeah, because there's no other narration in the movie. That's a good point. I completely missed that. Jeez, to the point where I'd almost forgotten about it. I guess the filmmakers decided that they really needed to spell that out for us.
Or maybe maybe it was a note or something like, hey, this doesn't make sense. And
yeah, spell it out for the audience, please.
He's looking this way, then he goes inside. Knock the fuck out.
You got knocked the fuck out. Give me my money. Like I said, eminently rewatchable.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't say it's like, gonna go down in the Library Hall of Fame as one of the top 10 movies of all time, but I mean, that's some funny shit in there.
Yeah, but one of the top 50 comedies of the 90s, perhaps.
Probably.
In general,
I'd probably say so. Yeah. I'm gonna go 3.5 stars. I think it's right there. Yeah.
I give it 3.
Again, just rewatchability alone, it's like, and there's such diminishing returns with the rest of the franchise that it's like, that's your star right there. Mwah.
I'm glad they never made a Last Friday, but they did make a First Sunday, but I don't think that's connected.
I will say I did enjoy Cat Williams in the third one, but yeah.
Did you ever see All About the Benjamins? Isn't that another Ice Cube, Mike Epps movie?
I did.
Saw that, I don't think so.
I did. It was kind of forgettable. But that moves us into Barbie.
Next week, Boys in the Hood, Menace to Society. No. Now, you bought the bottle of beer. So the next movie is Barbie. Look at us being all timely, watching half of the big summer blockbuster 2 years after the fact. I'm glad that we did that, though, because this show has already shown me several movies that I've already gone down as probably like some of my favorite movies, period, that I didn't know existed. And also, it's nice that it would have been fine if I'd seen this movie 2 years ago, but seeing it now, and now I'm already starting to see the transgression of it through the years. As all comedy does, it starts to turn into its final form, and I think it's going to make for a richer discussion. But what is Barbie for those who don't know?
What is Barbie?
I guess that's
What
what
are
this
you,
movie's about in
dead?
a way.
Yeah, so, Barbie is
What
a.
did you say? What are you, dead?
No, yes. Where have you
Well,
been?
I don't know. Maybe Barbie is dead. I know maybe that's an allegory for the whole thing, But anyways, what is
Barbie 2023, PG-13. PG-13, really?
Yeah,
Hour
it's a
and
little
54
nihilistic.
minutes.
Yeah.
Here's your log line. Barbie and Ken are having the time of their lives in the colorful and seemingly perfect world of Barbie Land. However, when they get a chance to go to the real world, they soon discover the joys and perils of living amongst humans. Your storyline is a little longer this time. Barbie the doll lives in bliss in the matriarchal society of Barbie Land, feeling good about her role in the world in the various iterations of Barbies over the year, showing girls that play with her that they can be whatever and whoever they want. On the flip side, Ken, who also lives in Barbie Land, is unnoticed except in relation to Barbie, which is, however, one step above any other doll in Barbie Land, such as Alan. One day, stereotypical Barbie begins to have feelings which she's never experienced, which leads her to her world seemingly falling apart. Weird Barbie determines that there is something happening in the real world with someone playing with her being unhappy, leading to stereotypical Barbie reluctantly heading to the real world to rectify what is happening with that person. She first needs to find this person. Wow, what kind of AI storyline is this? Much to Barbie's chagrin, the original Ken, Beach Ken, tags along with her to the real world, and he needing to survive in her presence. Beyond their mission to find this person, Barbie and Ken will find the real world unlike anything they know in Barbie Land, especially it being a male-dominated society. While Barbie still has to find out what's going on that made her come to the real world, Ken is finding newfound control which he brings back to Barbie Land. If he is able to do so, the role of Barbie in the real world may be forever changed. On top of everything, executives at Mattel, primarily white men, discover that a real-life Barbie and Ken doll have infiltrated the real world, and their mission is to capture the pair, especially Barbie, and to put them back in their place, namely in a sealed box.
Now, this movie had, God, where do I even start? Okay. This movie had excellent marketing.
Mm-hmm.
They made me not realize it was a kid's movie. And so I'm watching it and I went, oh, well, of course Barbie's meant for 9 to 13-year-olds primarily. There's enough in there that adults are going to enjoy as well. But at its heart, of course, it's a kid's movie because that's where it's going to end up over the years. That's where people are going to end up watching it more. And so it was like, oh, this is a lot lighter of a film than I thought it would be. But at the same time, this movie is, I didn't see Oppenheimer. Maybe that's the one that's a little more optimistic, right? Because this one certainly is nihilistic in many ways, because Barbie starts questioning, what it's like to be dead because, the older person was playing with her and being depressed. So it leads me back to the teachings of Bill Hicks. And what he told us was, if you're in marketing, you should just kill yourself right now.
Just kill yourself right now.
No, this is not a joke. Just go ahead and do it.
Just go ahead and do it.
Because marketing is inherently evil at its core.
Yes.
And yes, there is definitely something evil going on in this movie. But it's a necessary evil. What they do, what Greta Gerwig and her partner who wrote the movie and through her direction does with this movie is, it's something that's very unprecedented before, as far as
it's Noah Baumbach is the person who wrote it.
They took, of all things, to put this type of message in. It makes total sense that Barbie would be the movie that every generation of kids is going to watch from here on out, and every girl is going to have a way to look to aspire to be a different type of person. There's better role models now. Right from the beginning, this movie's never going away. This movie is there forever because it's Barbie. Barbie has stood the test of time. So this is just, wait 20, 30 years from now when Generation Beta and beyond has grown up with this movie. And I know art can only can't really lead you through. It can only show you the way, but this type of representation, it's better, and we've never really had anything like it before. And to put so much weird subversiveness in this movie, it's like they were trying to do it with Star Wars and so many other franchises, and it doesn't work. But with Barbie, it kind of fit perfectly because that's what Barbie is supposed to be. And so I think it's going to end up being one of the most important movies made, period, in time, because give it 100, 200 years, it's just one of these, growing up things. Whereas all we had were things like Friday, use your fists and stuff, right? And this is it's a different thing. And so I feel like that they use the necessary evil of the marketing, but for the powers of good, to where you can actually, be like, it's okay to be a person type movie. But things like Inside Out, our generation didn't have movies like that either that taught kids how to deal with emotions at a young age necessarily, right?
I can see Inside Out. I could definitely see your point with Inside Out.
So I think it's just a helpful thing overall,
I'm not sure
Maybe
if
not
Barbie
world shattering, but it's different,
I'm not sure if Barbie is doing some of the things that it's doing, and I'm not sure if it's doing some of the things that it's doing intentionally.
Well, that's
or
true
if
too.
there's or if it's a byproduct of what the film is just doing.
Right.
And because they're like, if you watch the film, it's very girl forward. Like
Mhm.
I get that, and it needs to be. It's about fucking Barbie.
Yeah, that's why there's no Debo in this movie. Yeah.
Right. There is definitely no fucking Debo in this movie. I mean, other than the other Kens. I guess the Kens are the Debos. And it definitely paints a I think whether intentionally or not, it does this like kind of girl good, boy bad maybe situation a little bit. I don't know if
But
it's trying to be.
It shows both bad though too. Eventually, I think. So.
Yeah, and I don't say that to go like, I'm not trying to say my patriarchy's been hurt inside or whatever. I don't know if the film's intentionally doing that or if it's a byproduct of what I'm seeing. But it seems like it definitely takes jabs at like 4 minutes into the movie, we're talking about feminism. There's discussions of feminism, discussions of like, in very clear terms. Right. So I don't know.
And it's Barbie. It makes sense.
I quite liked it. I quite liked the movie, and I found it funny. And it did definitely poke at some of the boy type stuff that guys do. Like horses and Hummer, Hummer trucks and all this sort of shit. And my favorite is the Dojo Casa, whatever the hell he called that thing, is his Dojo Casa that's selling like hotcakes. I thought that was hilarious.
For me, it kind of was like it was like an extension of Toy Story in a way, where we've already seen Barbie and Ken there, and now we're seeing their whole world of them, and it's like, oh, they're not humans, they're dolls. So when Ken comes to the real world, he attaches to the most plastic things that he thinks, because he's essentially just a big toy, and then he tries to do it there. What he's thinking is the patriarchy, but he's just like, I thought it was just about horses, like, because he's a doll, so it's only his approximation to the emotions of what actual people go through. So that's why I thought it was funny that they could point out the foibles that way.
Yeah, it's Barbie lives in this sort of
pull the threads too much, or it all falls apart too, because it's kids.
True. I mean, I went to see this in the theater, and it was a. I mean, there were grown women as groups going to see this.
The marketings were genius. They told us all to go see it. Otherwise, we wouldn't have gone to a Barbie movie, right?
I knew it was going to be something to see, because I agree with you. I think this is definitely singular as far as like just totally, female forward movie, to the point where, there are men that are very upset about some of the shit that was said and done in this movie and are online crying,
because
it is silly.
Ken's not a real person. He's a doll. He thinks Matchbox 20 is like the epitome of macho.
I want to push you around. Yeah, it's so good. There's a lot of stuff like that where he goes, beat yourself off, the
subversive, right?
It's funny. It's the, you can leave now. I don't want you here. Like literally at the end of the night when they're talking, she looks at him and just goes, you can leave now. I don't want you here. And he's like, okay.
Right? She's a little rough around the edges too in the beginning.
And like one of the things I want to point out is early on, like Barbie lives in utopia, right? With this feminine forward utopia. And in that utopia, Ken can't have a good day. He literally says, I can't have a good day unless she acknowledges my existence, And so it's like, it definitely gets better because then, it flips with Ken trying to bring in patriarchy and then it all kind of getting better. But I definitely think that there are some intentional choices there and they're funny fucking choices.
Of course, yeah.
It's hilarious watching him chase her at times.
I feel like everybody's in on the joke here, which is why I'm like, okay, this fits here. While as in Juno, I feel like somebody was mad and was just fucking trying to beat their ex-boyfriend senseless, was what that one kind of felt like. But here it feels like, oh, we're just going to, it's a whole, both genders, everybody's kind of crazy, and let's point out, on this basic scale, how it is. Mm-hmm. One of the things I mean about the transgressiveness of it is when they wrote it during the pandemic. And so that's why all that death and despair and stuff is in it. But now as we move away from that and you watch the movie now, that just feels more like existentialism to me and more like that's just what it is to be a person, And mm-hmm. So it's not necessarily attached to, the pandemic anymore. I don't know.
I thought it was, I like with you, I think it's sharp. I think it's funny. I like how one of the things I really love is whoever wrote it knows Barbie culture, like knows all the Barbies, knows, you've got Alan,
mm-hmm.
You've got Skipper, who is the pregnant Barbie or whatever.
Yeah,
and all these,
Alan doesn't live with the retired dolls. Don't pull at the strings. If Ken had an avatar that was getting aggravated, why did he have emotions? Don't pull at the strings. I'm like, okay, I'm thinking too hard.
Kate McKinnon as Weird Barbie, fantastic. The first time when her feet touch the floor and her feet go flat, and they're all freaking out and all grossed out about it. That's some hilarious shit, dude.
That's when it's like, because at first you're like, is this movie going to be insufferable?
Right.
And then you get to that and it's like, okay, now we're throwing the twist.
It's mildly self-aware and very much poking fun at some of that stuff, but also has a very strong message behind it. I love that when she gives her the choice of high heels or Birkenstocks, like which one do you want? And she's just like,
you want to see the real world?
Bon voyage to reality, and the Indigo Girls playing while they're driving, while they're traveling. That's chef's kiss. That's so good.
Right. So it takes that message of, if you're in marketing, kill yourself. And it's like, well, wait a minute. No, I'm not going to kill myself. I'm going to use my marketing for the power of good. But I still don't know if God exists in Barbie Land. Is Barbie Land a godless world? I don't know, but do dolls
totally
have souls?
Are you kidding me?
Because she was having the little Shining connection, so there was something going on between the two minds.
No, Barbie Land is a godless, heathen place of.
Oh, so is that why the people that are saying that Barbie is a retelling of the Adam and Eve story aggravated at the movie because they think it's blasphemous or something? Which is also why it's an important work of art, because it challenges a lot of.
Who said it's
if you dig around online far enough,
Adam and Eve story, really?
Wow,
that's the craziest fucking. I never would have come up with that after watching it 50 times. That's insane.
It's kind of like the life of Brian of kids' movies.
It's like Shrek. It's like it reminds me of Shrek. When I took my
Avatar.
I took my cousin when she was about 8 or 9 to see Shrek. And she laughed at it, and Anissa was with me, my wife, and she and I laughed, but we weren't laughing at the same stuff.
Yeah.
Like it's and that's kind of what Barbie's like, because Barbie throws out these self-aware sort of jives, like when they get into the real world and she and Ken are surrounded by like some bad guys. She goes, "We don't have genitals. He doesn't have genitals. I don't have genitals."
Yeah. How does she
know?
What he goes, are? Don't pull.
He looks around and goes, I have all the genitals.
Oh, so he didn't know. She knew because she has knowledge of the real world now because of the mind connection.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Well, and now
There's a lot
she's
of story going on in this. It's like a live action Pixar movie, but a little Marvelized to boot.
Yeah, exactly. It's when you think of Sparkle, you think of female agency, which it's those kind of lines that make me really laugh. Where I'm just like, Jesus, somebody's cutting this with a razor at times, and it's pretty funny. The red statue outside of Mattel, that red statue sculpture thing, it looks like the fucking statue at the Tucson Public Library downtown.
Oh, a bit,
Exactly what
doesn't
it reminds me
it?
of. Yep.
Was there a movie called like Disenchanted or something where like some fairy princess comes to the real world? And I mean, there's been this type of genre before, right? This one's a little different.
Oh, sure.
This one's more like child's play, where the longer she's in the real world, the more she's less a doll and more a person, to where she has to go to the gynecologist. So maybe Chucky should move to Barbie Land. He'd be much happier there, I think.
Well, I think the Rhea Perlman God character gives her the genitals,
Pinocchio syndrome,
sends her to the real world.
Didn't they say that's what ruined Data? When the bots are having that discussion on that MSD episode. Oh, of course he wants to be human. You know what this also reminded me of?
What?
Ernest Saves Christmas. Because that tween girl doesn't believe in anything, and this kind of, pure character is going to show her that Santa Claus is real, and we're going to go deliver all the presents together, and we're going to put that Christmas spirit back in you. So it had a little bit of that in there. And that's why Ernest movies can be good sometimes, can be terrible, but that one's a good one. Ernest Saves Christmas, if you're like 9. That's probably really good still. But that's a redneck Christmas, to get off on a different tangent there. It's imaginary friend genre. Kind of reminded me of our movies a little bit. And I said, movie, you can't make me well up doing the same tricks that we used in Love Song, showing the kid in the flashback scene with the slow music. Nice try. Nice try. I'm manipulative, but I give it credit for it. It's like Marley and Me,
The movie is here's something I will say about it that I didn't like, and not to shit on the movie. I'm not trying to do that, but you know how they travel back and forth between the worlds, right?
Mm-hmm.
That happens like 6 times in this movie. Like it happens, it's almost to the point where it's kind of over and over again. Like, yeah. I get it. Like you're making a joke out of it, but at the same time, holy shit, come on again.
Yeah, they really like those set pieces of what it looks like.
They really enjoyed that. Yeah,
it's mostly practical stuff, but yeah, it's funny because apparently Greta Gerwig got to do just about anything she wanted with the movie, which is why it's so long. It's like almost 2 hours because she didn't have to cut out all those scenes that they usually make you cut out. Mm-hmm. Like turning to the old lady and saying you're beautiful. That would have been removed, but she's like, no, that stays. And so those things drag the movie, but fill out the movie at the same time. The things like you were talking about drag it a little. Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's also why I don't necessarily agree that it's a kid's movie, because kids' movies are usually, you got to keep the kids' attention. They're not normally 2 hours long.
Yeah, it serves a few too many masters, but I think like a tween movie is probably more.
Tweens, yeah, I'd agree with you there. 12 to 14, sure. Mm-hmm. 15, sure. Somebody who had just put Barbies down or is kind of barely in the last of the phase.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, sure. Why did America Ferrari know that it was Barbie? Like she just pulled up and was like, "Get in!" Like, how did she know that was Barbie? Don't pull the strings.
She worked for Mattel, strangely enough, right? Yeah. But because she's the one who had mind melded with Barbie already, I guess. Right?
Oh, she was shining with the real Barbie. That's right. Yeah. That's a line in the film. Are you shining with the real Barbie? Right.
Barbie knows what the shining is. Where did they get the Godfather from? Don't pull at the strings.
Don't pull at the strings. And all these, and it kind of taking a quick jab here. Most of the men in this movie are pretty dumb or incapable or oblivious. Like it's very like, don't need the men. Like they're there. Female movie, and I get it,
That's not what
because
this
that's how a
is,
lot of
yeah.
movies are. That's how a lot of other movies are. So they really,
Most of them are Kens that aren't even human anyway. So
they don't do them in a crappy way, but it's very much. I think that was another one of those choices where it's like, female forward movie. We're going to do it kind of like if we did Lethal Weapon, it would be a bunch of females in the background, but it wouldn't be anything.
Yeah, that's why I know what you mean, but that's why I say there's no Debo in the movie. There's no like aggressive male, and it's kind of like, look, we're going to give you a respite for that for 2 hours, and you don't have to deal with that character.
I completely get
focus on this. Whereas other movies do it, and I'm like, oh, you're trying to force things in that don't fit your story, but here it kind of fit for me.
Ken would probably be the most aggressive male, maybe, or maybe the Mattel guy, but
I haven't seen this many Kens since Fugitive Alien.
The film looks very digital. That's one of my biggest problems with the movie. It's
what I don't like a lot about a lot of new movies.
So digital.
The Deadpool Wolverine looked like that too a bit.
Yeah, it's digital. You can tell. You can tell the backgrounds are digital. You can tell, and it looks fine. It's just it doesn't look. It looks digital. It doesn't look like film. There's a difference between that and the opening. Some of those big numbers in Barbie, you watch them and then you think of the opening number in like La La Land, and you go,
also,
there's a huge difference. There's a huge friggin' difference. I think Ken giving Barbie a taste of her own medicine is needed to turn this movie away from it. Without it, it doesn't. It's not balanced. You know what I mean?
Well, of course, that's the whole point of it. Is they live in an inverse world.
Well, and Ken turning it upside down is it
in his own ridiculous way.
You need that, yeah. I think my favorite scene in the movie is Alan kicking the construction Ken's asses.
Oh, that's pretty good. Yeah,
it's so good, dude. Where at the end he's like, "You want some more?" And they're like, "Oh, That's good stuff."
Yeah, it reminded me of Avatar, but in reverse, because it's like you don't become one of them; they become one of us. In the end, you go from that world to that world, and they even have the psychic like link up thing too as well. A little bit, or is that more like it's more like a Skype zooming in the Star Wars sequels? I would have thought Ken would have had an avatar, which is making him emotional as well. But that's just me pulling at the threads too much. But where is that skipper who escaped originally?
That's a good question.
Somewhere. Well, they are going to make a part 2, unfortunately. I wish they'd leave this alone.
Oh, I think they should leave it alone.
Because I don't want them to fuck it up,
Yeah. Yeah, that's... The discontinued Ken and Barbies are hilarious. All those discontinued models.
You evil marketers, you.
Yeah, that's one of the things I love about the movie is that it's so self-aware and it's so aware of its own line, and it makes fun of itself and pokes fun at like the terrible stuff that they tried,
We found out a way to make you care about the toys that nobody cared about, because now we're making fun of them in this movie, and now you want the Barbie with the movie screen on the back on her, or a TV set on her back. Well, as before, nobody wanted that until the marketing geniuses at Mattel decided to put that in this movie. Oh, you evil fuckers, you. But I applaud you at the same time.
It does a thing. I remember when we talked about Band-Aid?
Mm-hmm.
And one of your problems that you had with it is that when it got to the end, it did this sort of like, you had the mom who gave the speech and sort of generalized through.
Right, but at least the son said like, "That's you though," or something, right? She's like, "Yeah, I guess that is just me," but
right.
But yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah,
she kind of generalized the relationship in men and women in general. And there's I think it's during the speech where it's talking about something about like women have to answer for men and everything else or whatever. And I thought, God, it reminded me of that your complaint of Band-Aid, where it's like, well, you're getting into generalization where you've been really sharp and pointed about everything else. And I guess you kind of have to move the star. I think it's America Ferrara who gives that.
Okay, I know what you're talking about. Well, that's just her having her big,
It's the one that wakes the Barbies up.
Yeah.
That's the speech I'm talking about.
Yeah, well, it's different because she was just getting all the other women riled up,
Right.
Feeling better. Well, as opposed to the other movie, it's just the mom yelling at her son.
Well, and I think not just that, but it's also like a generalization to kind of, it's like a plot fix, like a Band-Aid on the plot to go, okay, here's why I'm moving along.
Well, it has to be a 4-quadrant movie too. Like I said, there's something evil going on, but it's in this necessary evil to get the better message above it. Because in the end, the good message will override any of the, plastic that we're selling.
Come on in, I'll play a guitar at you is one of my favorite lines in the movie. It's so it's so oblivious male. It's great. It makes me laugh hysterically.
Ken's guitar is a modified Jerry Cantrell signature model.
Really?
It's one of his newer guitars, actually. Like almost as soon as it was made, it was put into the movie. And Greta Gerwig said she doesn't put anything in her movies that she doesn't like. So apparently she doesn't dislike the Matchbox 20 song. Everybody has thought it would be a funny choice. So
it's a great choice. When he starts singing it, I was just dying laughing. It's almost that classic dude who shows up with the guitar to try and do the song and sing and get the girl. It's perfect. It's so good. And piling on top of that, Gosling's "I'm Just Ken" performance in the movie and at the Oscars was fantastic. It was so good. He was really, really surprisingly talented with that stuff. It was a fantastic performance.
It does kind of feel like 4 different movies happening all in one big movie, and they somehow managed to make it work.
Mm-hmm. Are they going to come up with like a friend zone Ken? Is that going to be the next Mattel model, friend zone Ken? I think that would be a good one.
You would think that would have been one of the fake commercials within the movie, almost, And it's like, well, okay, who determines what emotions cause which toys to get made? Don't pull at the threads too much.
Don't pull at the threads, Marty. They kind of look, for me, the end of the movie's the kind of where it weakens. It's a little bit of psychobabble, and the resolution's kind of weak, and it sort of drags the movie to a stop with all of the sort of.
It's like, how do we wrap all this up?
Yeah, how do we wrap it up? And we got to kiss Rhea Perlman's ass, and I get it. The lady who created Mattel definitely deserves all the nods. I think it's hilarious. She was a tax dodger too. That's hysterical that she was in trouble for tax evasion. That was very, very funny. But compared to the rest of the movie, which was just, snap, snap, snap,
right.
Snap, move.
Take cover. All the loose ends are flying together. You might get hit by one of them.
You might get hit by one of them. Exactly. But yeah, I don't think I'm going to see another movie like it. That's for sure.
No, I don't know if they're going to, I heard other people say this, but I'm going to echo it. I don't know if they're going to allow another movie like this through the pike. I'm amazed that it came out like it did. I guess it came out at just the right time to where it was like somebody sees the opportunity to be like, oh, you're going to allow us to put this permanent piece of history here? Okay, here's the time. Bam. And the pendulums keep swinging back and forth in the free world. Stay tuned. A lot of other foreign countries don't like this movie very much either, but some of that's because they have that 8-dot line around China or something I was reading. If you want to get into that controversy, you all can look that up on Wikipedia. Was that on purpose or not? I don't know.
Here's something I hear people say a lot. Oh, you could never make Blazing Saddles in today's market. And here's what I say to that. Horseshit.
You could, but I just don't know if somebody's going to give you the money to make it is the thing on that scale.
the movie is either good or not. It's either the script is either strong enough to be produced or not. The producer's either good enough to find the money or not, and the film's either good enough for the audience or not. And I think at any time, the really good movies, the ones that really stand the test of time, and I think this one will, like you said, it's going to be interesting to see the take of this movie in 25 years.
Mm-hmm.
Very, very interesting to see how kids and people react to it 25 years from now. Is it going to feel dated? Is it going to feel always, progressive and sort of forward like it is now? Who knows? There's no telling.
I think it's going to continue to go more and more in that direction because it's one of the first of its kind.
I think you're probably right.
And it's about time. I mean, geez, women couldn't have a credit card until the late 70s? So if you really think about how little time it's been since progress has been made, it's kind of like, oh, what a perfect time for that movie to come along. And yeah, I know anything can get made at any time, but certain things are probably easier to make during certain times.
I would agree with that too. But it's like saying you could never get Friday made, or you could never, you can't do, Friday now. You can't do this now. I don't agree with that. I just think I think a good movie is going to get made. Whether you're the same
level. I mean, there's things in the Barbie movie I don't know if executives would even put in the movie now.
I don't know. I think
I don't know. It seems like people are pretty fickle sometimes. So I don't know.
We'll see.
And also, you get a whole new batch of executives every 5-6 years, anyways. Because even if you do a good job in Hollywood, you end up fired. It seems like it's like riding a rodeo bull. Staying at the top.
Dude, Hollywood doesn't know what the hell it's doing.
That's true too.
I mean, A24 made, I think I saw a graphic where that Red One movie with Dwayne The Rock Johnson.
Yeah, that lost a lot of money, didn't it?
Yeah. $185 million to make that movie.
I didn't even know it existed until it flopped.
A24 put out like 14 movies with the same amount of money.
Well, next week your film is Red One. Well, I forget who said it, but don't they say no one knows anything in Hollywood? I'm sure more than one person. I agree. Like that.
Well, it's like I've said a million times. If you give me $1 million, I'm going to make 10 movies. Probably. I'm kidding. Or you give me $10 million, I'm going to make 10 movies.
I'm just, if Barbie 2 has anything close to gynecological humor at the end of it, I'll be surprised. Is what I'm saying.
I hear you.
I was really shocked that got through.
I'd like to see my gynecologist.
Wow, I'm glad it's there, but fucking A, usually somebody would have shut that down.
I was in the theater for that movie, and that line got a roar.
Yeah,
it was
one
funny.
Of the best lines in the movie. Well, she had that creative control. I guess it's more about how many notes does the studio give you on your film. Are you going to get to be able to have the final cut, or is somebody going to get to come in and tell you what's going to happen to your movie? Yeah,
I get. I mean, she's been Spielberg's protege for a while, and she's got a good reputation. And she pulled this off, which was pretty well done. And now she's going after the Chronicles of Narnia, which is
that's
an
right.
interesting choice.
A fresh take.
But, okay.
Makes me wonder if the director's cut of Friday was their first edit and they turned that in, and maybe somebody was like, "Nah," and they brought back that theatrical cut. I don't know.
That wouldn't surprise me at all.
But in that case, it feels like the theatrical cut was better than the director's cut, because I just feel like it doesn't try to hold your hand as it goes, whereas that version was like, here's everybody in the neighborhood first. Or But you would think both of those movies, they probably had creative control as well, because Friday didn't cost that much to make, I don't think.
So what do you give it?
Oh.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you there. So what do you give it?
Oh, I give it 3.5.
3.5?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's pretty right on, actually. I think that's right there.
Yeah. It's not like an amazing movie, but it's amazing for what it is.
Mm-hmm. No, I hear you.
The tween movie that's got that much in it. So,
yeah, I wish it was a little less digital. I wish it was a little less digital, and I wish it was a little shorter. But for the most part, like I said, back and forth 6 times. Come on, But for the most part, I agree with you. I think it even for a 3.5-star movie, it's really kind of being like an important movie, I think.
So next week we are back with the Talking Pondo with Guest, where we will have Ben Hassler on. I believe it's that episode, right? Where
I think it is Big Ben. Yeah,
we're talking about haunted house films. We'll be talking about The Changeling, The Shining next week.
Right. That's right.
It's a long-awaited episode. Another Reels of Justice host there. And then we'll be back the week after that with another episode of Talking Pondo with us. There's no guest on that one unless you count. You're the guest listener.
That's right.
So,
we love you, listener. Thanks for listening in. Now, hit that like and subscribe button.
Yes. What movie? All right. Subscribe to our YouTube page, too. We get enough people on there we can monetize that. It'll help pay for
come on.
Stuff.
Do the thing. Come on, click the thing. Do it.
You don't have to pay us anything. But when we're back, well, after next week, what movies are we watching then?
That is a good question.
What movie am I giving you? What movie are you giving me?
Well, I'm not sure what I've got a few here. I'm just not sure which one I should give you. What do you got? You want to go first?
Oh, you want me to spur this again? Okay. Well, this has worked pretty well the last few times, so let me go first again. I like movies about making movies. Let's watch Badass.
Ooh, I haven't seen that in a while. Okay. All right. I like that. So I'm going to give you, I think I'm going to stick with this theme that I've got going about powerful women. And I'm going to give you Tootsie with Dustin Hoffman.
Okay. Is that on the 80s?
It is on the 80s classic list. We circled back to it. Yeah.
I haven't done that for a bit.
Yeah. I think it's on the classic list. It should be.
I would think it probably is. Yeah, there it is. Right between the Dark Crystal and Blue Thunder is Tootsie. So that's another one off of that list, too. That's good. We haven't done one of those in a bit. Tootsie and Badass. Well.
Tootsie and Badass.
Let's see where these cross over.
Gotta be something. We'll find something.
It'll probably be something pretty obvious, like an empty milk carton. I guess Barbie's milk carton wasn't empty. It just had imaginary milk in it. So.
Right, exactly. Yeah, because they don't actually eat or drink in Barbie Land.
Right. And other science facts. Well, you best put some water on that.
La la la.
I just eat it dry before I put water on it. That's just me, though.
All right, Marty. Well, I guess that it's Tootsie and Badass.
Yeah.
Next 2 weeks from now, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right. We'll see you then.
Yeah, the weed be letting you know. Evil look.
I have all the genitals. Later.
Support the show on Buzzsprout for only $3 a month. Give us a 5-star review on Spotify or the platform of your choice. And be sure to like and subscribe to our YouTube page.